You know, that meeting with Boris Johnson when she sat on the other side of the table from him and believed him when he said he would die before he'd harm farming.
The Wiltshire farmer Minette Batters has closed the gate on one chapter of her life today as she addressed the National Farmers Union as their president for one last time. For 6 years, she's guided them through the uncertainties of Brexit, COVID and the war in Ukraine. All makes a difference to farming. Our business and political editor, or environment editor, I should say, Dave Harvey reports.
On his farm outside Bath, Hugh Padfield tends to young calves, like countless generations of West Country farmers have before him. But recently, everything in farming has changed.
So when we left the European Union, we were tearing up what farmers were absolutely dependent upon and looking to replace it with something that was more fit for purpose.
Goodbye common agricultural policy. Hello, well, what? Hugh's farm is a success. Their cheese wins multiple awards and sells well. But all farms rely on government support and food regulation. And since Brexit, that's all been up in the air.
That really was an earthquake for farming policy. And making sure that the new British-based farming policy that replaced that, ELMS or environmental land management, was fit for purpose was absolutely crucial. And so it's been really great to have Minette at the helm arguing the case for farmers.
Not all farmers are so impressed with Minette Batters.
Come on, Meg!
From her farm in Wiltshire, Liz Webster helped organise a campaign to save British farming. For her, the NFU's leadership has been just too polite.
You know, that meeting with Boris Johnson when she sat on the other side of the table from him and believed him when he said he would die before he'd harm farming. We needed more of a fight and a call to arms, and that never happened.
Giving her last interviews as NFU president, Minette Batters has been honest about the New Deal for farmers.
Oh my goodness, it's still work in progress. I mean, the situation in Wales speaks volumes that no, it is not where it needs to be.
The impacts of the TCA and our trade policy, I think there is an enormous question mark over what it will mean for the sorts of things you mentioned: healthy food, affordable, consumer choice, etc. The one thing that worries me is if we do see a structural decrease in imports from the EU, and if we do see downward pressure on productivity in the UK, or certainly on prices in the UK, that increases the incentives for the UK government to liberalise its trade policy without also taking account of those sorts of issues you mentioned around the standards of the food that we eat. So the way that it's being produced, the nutritional content, etc. i.e., we just need to kind of get hold of food wherever we can at whatever cost. Now that's a sort of big issue, really plays into our wider trade policy, but it does concern me that the UK government may feel itself forced into doing, for example, quick deals with countries to secure food imports, regardless of how that food has been produced. So I think that would be the concern I have.
Unfinished business then, even as the outgoing Wiltshire president greeted the PM yesterday at her conference.
Well, Minette, that's a tough act to follow.
Smiles and handshakes maybe, but sharp questions too. 4 years after Brexit, there is still no clear farming policy.
Farmers really want to know what the plan for food production is. So no, I think a lot of time has been wasted. We've faced huge political upheaval. I've worked with 6 secretaries of state. So focusing on the general election, what is every party's plan for food production? That's what farmers want to know.
But chasing an answer to that question will be someone else's job. Dave Harvey, BBC Points West.